There's a funny story about how I got into coffee. Oh, hey. I see you've found my little setup here.
Did you not tell them?
Yeah, I feel like I missed some sort of social cue. Well, we're gonna make some Mochi Waffles today. You can make it as a pancake too. Jen's here to hang out with us too. She's gonna be directing me and she's gonna ask me some questions that I probably have answers to.
There's some questions
Dip that
from
in.
your Instagram followers. How are you?
I'm really nervous right now because I've never done a cooking video before, even though we're just hanging out, right? Mostly just hanging out.
Okay, another question.
Okay.
Very important. Waffles or pancakes?
Oh, you know what? I prefer waffles, and I think it's because of the texture. But I do have really fond memories of making pancakes with my dad in the mornings. We put some chocolate chips in there, some blueberries, some bananas. Those are good stuff.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
I like to engage in the thought. I like to believe that we get a second chance at living. I also like to think that we don't have a second chance at living, so then I can make the most of my life now. Reincarnation sounds really dope. I really believe that Duke is a reincarnation of you, and you guys just happen to be in the same timeline. It would be really cool to be reincarnated into animals. Now, this is a technicality, but do you think that when you get reincarnated, you remember your past lives?
I guess it makes sense for deja vu to be kind of that form of this is your past life. But I'm not very well versed in reincarnation.
Yeah, me neither.
Do you think about what happens after you die? Do you just die?
Yeah, that's kind of what I think of it as. Like the moment that we're dead, we just cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Our brain doesn't work anymore, and all these experiences that culminated into making us a person just no longer exist.
How about that question about if you make a clone of yourself with all the memories that you have, would that still be you? Or do you think there's some kind of essence of you that would never be complete in that other clone?
The essence of me is not only has to do with my memories and my experiences, also has to do with my reactions to certain things, my gestures, my way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, besides possibility, is it me?
Could you face yourself in that situation and be like, you're me? Or do you think you would never be able?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. What do you think?
There's still some part of me that really believes in like souls. And you can't really transfer souls across like that, in my mindset at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's not yourself in that sense. Even if it is an entity that is an exact
It is just a version
replica
of you. Yeah, it's just a version of you. Oh God, I'm really bad at this. Excuse me, dude.
How to tackle not thinking yourself into a hole?
Oh, that's so hard because I feel like I overthink so often. I'm very conscious of the fact that I overthink. I speak to myself in a really kind voice. I talk to myself very nicely, and I'm like, okay, Stef, it's all right. I understand that you're feeling this way. I understand that you're you kind of are going down a really terrible rabbit hole right now, but just know that everything is going to be okay. In any sort of situation I've gotten into, things have ended up being okay, even though maybe a situation only lasted like 5 minutes or 5 days or 5 months. Everything always ends up being okay. I kind of think of it as like, what is something that you would say to a friend? And you wouldn't be like, hey, yo, get your booty up. You're overthinking and you're being really dumb about this. Calm down. That's me. Oh, and then I'll go read a book or listen to music or go for a really nice walk or something.
How do you stay positive?
I tell myself that, like I said, it's gonna be okay. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel however you're feeling right now. That's life. Life just isn't fair. And that's because life doesn't cater to you and you're but a speck of cosmic dust. And I kind of just have to give myself that sort of reality check and to know that I have to figure out the things that I can control. For example, some things that I can control are how I react to a situation. So instead of digging myself a hole or feeling bad for myself or feeling really helpless or dwelling, I tell myself that it's okay and I try to find the silver lining in this terrible situation that I'm in. I try to think of mostly, how to learn from the situation and what I could do better, where to go. It's okay to know and admit that you just You just don't know right now. And you could take a step back and try again another time.
What is one thing you could talk about passionately for hours?
Coffee. I am a bit of a coffee fiend. I can talk about coffee for hours. I could talk about a lot of things for hours. I could talk about photography for hours. I could talk about music. There's a funny story about how I got into coffee. I got into coffee because Jennifer makes fun of me. She makes fun of me for drinking my coffee with a lot of milk and a lot of sugar. And then we went on a friend trip to Philly, and at the Philly house, at this Airbnb, there was whole bean coffee and this grinder, and we were like, oh, I guess we have to make coffee like this. Jennifer grinded some coffee, we drank some coffee, and she made it just black with very little sugar, and it's iced. I remember sipping on it and being like,
oh, I guess it's time to learn how to drink black coffee.
It was so good. It was so good. I remember being like, oh my God, this is revolutionary. I've changed. I'm a new woman. So I slowly started drinking black coffee. I looked into coffee brewing and I found the pour over technique. And so I got a Hario V60 and I ended up making pour over, and that's how I learned how to make pour over. The whole ritual of coffee making is just very relaxing. I'm really into photography. I like photographing people, I like photographing with people, I like looking at pictures, I like capturing memories. I like to sing, I like to play guitar, I like to jam with my friends, I like to improv. I used to do that a lot when I was in college, and I would perform at a bunch of these events and these shows, and I miss it because I think the last time I performed on stage was like 2 years ago. It's a good feeling. I used to not like performing on stage, and then I started to do it when I was in high school with my friend Erin, who lives right across the street, my sister, my best friend. I built that stage comfort and that stage presence through those little things. And now I could sing mostly in front of everybody, but I'm still pretty shy about it.
What can you do today that you weren't capable of doing a year ago?
I used to not be able to stand up for myself, I guess. I can set boundaries now. I'm a little bit more comfortable in my own skin. I definitely have a lot more confidence now than when I did last year. That just takes a lot of work, takes a lot of self-improvement. It takes a lot of admitting to yourself that you feel really powerless, and that a lot of your lack of self-confidence or your lack of self-esteem is very deeply rooted in your own history. My fashion sense has evolved, and it's a little bit more laid back now because I just feel more comfortable in my own skin. You know what I do now too that I didn't do a year ago? I spend so much more money now. Only because I feel like I spent a lot of money on food because Jen got me into cooking, and now it's just become sort of like a hobby. And we also like trying new foods, so we tend to eat out a little bit more often. We order food. Okay, so now we're gonna dip these guys in.
What's your favorite song?
It is I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. I admire Jason Mraz a great deal. I think it started because I got super existential because people would ask me that when I was in middle school, and I never had an answer for them. And so one time it was super late at night. It was probably 10 p.m., but I was in middle school, so it was past my bedtime. Jason Mraz came on the radio, and it was I'm Yours. And I was like, you know what? I really like the song. I think this is my new favorite song. This is like my all-time favorite song now. And I really dug in deep, and I did a lot of Jason Mraz research, and I was like, wow, this guy's really awesome, and I like all of his music. I've never had one of those moments where it was really late at night, and I was like, what's my new favorite song? So it's just been my favorite song since I was like 11. That's how Stef goes, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna tidy up. You don't like messy because it makes me anxious. I put this pen in this little pocket because I was like, oh, it looks official.
Is ice at the Arctic as cool or colder than ice in my freezer? Which is better?
Well, I think ice in the Arctic is definitely colder than your fridge in the winter months. Apparently, this year, Siberia experienced like 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer months. And that, I think, is about 30 degrees higher than what they typically experience. And this is also something that wasn't supposed to, like, that new temperature height wasn't supposed to happen for like years, like hundreds of years. So it really depends. We should probably take the ice from our freezers because we don't want to take the ice from the Arctic because they need it more. That's my take on it. Ooh, it smells so good. waffles. Okay, so if you're gonna make waffles, right, make sure it's like, you hear that? It's a little crispy on the top, because then when you bite into it, you get a little crunch, and then you get the chewy stuff, and it's a lot of fun. So we're gonna do a little bit more, because you have a ton of dough. What is this called? Batter?
When's the last time you felt embarrassed?
You know who my spirit animal is when it comes to embarrassment?
Who?
Andy Dwyer. I feel embarrassed every day. I think it's mostly because I'm an awkward person, and I have social anxiety. There's this story that my friends from home will always tell you when they're like, oh, do you know how embarrassing Stef is? There was this one day where I was hanging out at the mall with a group of my friends who I'm still very good friends with today. We all go into the elevator and another person, a woman, walks into the elevator, and as we were walking in, she noticed my shirt and it said Baruch on it. And she goes, oh, hey, my niece goes to Baruch. And I said, oh, thanks. I don't know what happened after that because I blacked out. But it was very awkward going down 4 floors. And we let the woman go out first. Someone was like, so her niece goes to Baruch, huh?
What do you think about when you go to sleep?
My mind just goes until I think them into a dream. Sometimes I overthink it and I get nervous about falling asleep. Because I'm like, what if I'm too conscious about falling asleep?
Why does that scare you?
I don't know, I overthink the process of sleep. It just freaks me out. It's irrational, it just freaks me out.
What do you think about?
In general?
Yeah.
I think about my worries at the moment, because I just always am worried, because I'm the type of person to just like think of worst case scenarios so that I'm mentally prepared for it.
What's your favorite food to cook?
Oh, I love making pasta. Pasta. I should show you guys. I have a secret talent. Are you ready? Oh, waffles. Do you want one? So creamy. Ooh. I wish we had the syrup, but that takes really long to make. Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot. It's so thick that it got stuck. You want a waffle, Matt?
I ain't gonna say no.
Sign up for us. My special best. Okay. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Like. Comment. No, you can do whatever you want. I just appreciate you being here. I'll see you next time.